You wake up at 3 a.m. The room is completely dark. For a split second, before your brain catches up, something feels wrong. Your heart beats faster. Your body tenses. You are a grown adult. You know there is nothing there, and yet that feeling doesn't go away. By the end of this video, you will never feel the same way about the dark again. Most people assume fear of the dark is about what might be hiding in the darkness, a predator, an intruder, something unknown. But that's not what the science shows. Fear of the dark is not about what's in the dark. It's about what darkness does to your brain, and the difference will surprise you. When light disappears, your brain doesn't go quiet, it gets louder. A region called the amygdala, your brain's threat detection system, becomes significantly more active in darkness. Not because it has detected a threat, but because it can't confirm there isn't one. Your brain operates on a simple principle that has kept humans alive for 200,000 years. In the absence of information, assume danger. In darkness, you have no visual information, so your brain defaults to its oldest setting. Something could be there. Prepare for the worst. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tense, adrenaline enters your bloodstream, all before your conscious mind has had a single thought. This is not a childhood fear you never grew out of. This is evolution. For 99% of human history, darkness was genuinely dangerous. Our ancestors had no artificial light. When the sun went down, predators that could see in the dark came out. Lions, leopards, hyenas, all of them hunt at night. The humans who were afraid of the dark stayed inside, stayed close to the fire, stayed alive. The humans who weren't afraid didn't survive long enough to pass on their genes. Fear of the dark is not a weakness. It is the reason you exist. But here's the part nobody talks about. Darkness doesn't just make you afraid, it makes you a different person. Studies show that people in darkness lie more, cheat more, act against their own moral code, not because they think nobody is watching, but because darkness literally changes the way your brain regulates behavior. The same mechanism that makes your amygdala fire in an empty dark room also reduces activity in your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for judgment, empathy, self-control. In darkness, you are less rational, less empathetic, less yourself. The dark doesn't just feel threatening, it changes who you are. But here's what makes this even stranger. Children are not born afraid of the dark. Babies sleep perfectly happily in complete darkness. Fear of the dark typically develops between ages 2 and 4, which is exactly when children develop the cognitive ability to imagine things that aren't there. The fear of the dark is not instinctive. It arrives the moment your brain becomes sophisticated enough to create monsters, which means the fear was never really about the dark at all. It was always about your imagination. And here's why that changes everything. Your imagination doesn't respond to logic. You can know, completely and rationally, that there is nothing in the room, and still feel afraid, because the part of your brain generating the fear does not communicate with the part that processes rational thought. Logic cannot turn off fear. It can only sit alongside it, and this is why logic can never turn it off. Your rational brain and your fear response don't talk to each other. They never have. They operate on completely separate systems. One processes information, the other responds to the absence of it. And in the dark, there is always an absence of information, which means the fear response never fully stands down. Not in childhood, not in adulthood, not ever. There is one experiment that proves this completely. Researchers asked adults to walk through a completely dark room, a room they had just walked through in full light. A room they knew contained nothing dangerous. Heart rates increased, breathing changed. Several participants refused to complete the walk, not because they believed something was there, but because their body responded as if something might be. The knowing and the feeling were completely separate. You can be certain something is safe and still be afraid of it. That is the nature of this fear, and no amount of logic changes it. So what actually happens at 3 a.m.? The answer involves a part of your brain that never sleeps. Not even when you do. Your conscious mind is running at reduced capacity. The rational, logical part of your brain is half offline, but your amygdala never sleeps. It is always scanning, always checking, and in the dark, with no visual information to work with, it fires. The feeling you get in the middle of the night that something is wrong, that the room feels different, that you are not alone, is 200,000 years of evolution doing exactly what it was designed to do. And here's the thing that makes this fear different from every other fear humans have. It cannot be cured, not completely. Humans can overcome fear of spiders, fear of heights, fear of flying. With exposure and therapy, these fears can be reduced to almost nothing. But fear of the dark, studies show it never fully disappears. Even in people who consider themselves completely comfortable in darkness, the amygdala still fires. The heart rate still increases slightly. The body still prepares, just for a fraction of a second, for something that isn't there, because the brain that evolved in darkness never fully learned to trust it. 11% of adults sleep with a light on. 40% are uncomfortable in complete darkness. And virtually every human on Earth, regardless of age, culture, or background, has experienced that 3 a.m. feeling. The sudden alertness, the irrational certainty that something is there. That feeling is not weakness. It is not something you need to fix. It is the oldest part of you, still doing its job, still scanning, still watching the dark, so you don't have to.